Yeah, it's Johnny Grube from WildManTraining.com. I want to talk real quick. I want to tell you a quick story about a policeman who tried to handcuff me. Now, first, I'm very pro-police. At least to the police that deserve respect, not these pussies today that enforce the laws of elected officials. They're not laws, actually. They're mandates or whatever they say. And a lot of my friends were cops growing up. A lot of the guys I grew up with. And I thought about being a cop, and then I didn't have the right temperament. I was a little angry when I was growing up, and I know that I couldn't have been bought, but I also know that I'm not going to enforce the mandates of elected officials that I don't agree with to violate other people's rights. It's just not going to happen. Anyhow, I have family members that are police. So the story goes, I have a relative who's a policeman, and we were talking about how police can't handle a man one-on-one. They have trouble handling one woman at a time. Most police aren't trained, and as time goes on, police are weaker than they ever been. I mean, look what happened at the Capitol building. I mean, these DC policemen right now, they got like PTSD because a girl slapped them around or something. It's just crazy. It's just I just can't imagine being a cop today with all that they got to deal with, especially the good cops. And there's way more good cops than bad cops, but there are some bad cops. And so we're at a funeral. It's the night before a funeral, a family member, and this cop is telling me how trained he is in all these martial arts, jiu-jitsu, Krav Maga, all this good shit. He's talking up a storm, having a couple beers. And like I said, he was 30 pounds heavier, 15 years younger. So I got tired of hearing it. Now at the time I was probably 160 pounds, 5'7", 160. I said, okay. I laid flat, put my arms out to my side, and I said, go ahead, arrest me. Just fucking a training thing. He gets on me and he puts an arm lock on me and he does try to hyperextend in my elbow, and I'm like, fuck. I jump out of this fucking hole. I get out of it quick. I'm on top of him. He can't get up. I am jamming knees into the side of his head. Obviously, I'm not jamming him in because he's a relative. And then I start dropping elbows on top of it. Boom, 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 dropping elbows. Then I start gouging his eye with my thumb. I mean, I'm just doing, I'm doing everything just to maul him. And he couldn't get up. He couldn't get up because I'm just all over him. And in real life, he would have not got up because a couple of the knees of the head would have fucking would have put him out. So then we went on a little bit wrestling and everything. I let him up and, we started wrestling a little bit. But by that time, he already knew that he fucking, in a real life situation, he lost. And probably, he might have lost his life. So he was probably breathing heavy for 15 minutes. And I was like, dude, I just proved to you that most cops, and you're supposedly trained, can't arrest me without more than one policeman using whatever. And you could see it many times out there. I've watched people in the town I lived in who couldn't get girls in the car. Matter of fact, I watched my stepfather, who was a truck driver, and my mom came back one night. This is a good story. My mom and him came back from the bar one night, and they lived in this apartment complex. And they were known, my stepdad and my mom were known to go to bars and fight. Believe it or not, my mom was a 99-pound woman from Scotland. And he was, a truck driver from Baltimore, and he liked to fight. Well, one time he came home, and I guess a fireman, for some reason, they started jawing back and forth. Well, my mom gets in the car, puts it in reverse, and slams into this fireman's car and gets locked up into the grill. And then my mom puts it in drive and starts dragging the car. It's pretty fucking funny, actually. Meanwhile, the cops come. Now, the cop is having a tough time with my stepdad. He doesn't want to go because he had some beers in him, and he's had his fights growing up in Baltimore. Cop puts him in the car. Now he's handcuffed, and he's on his back, and now he starts kicking through the fucking windows of the cop car. Meanwhile, the other cop is trying to get my mom in the car Now my mom was 99 pounds, and they couldn't get my mom in the fucking car. Yeah, she was a terror. And then the cop comes down, and I happen to be down there because I lived in another part of this complex. And I was probably 20 years old, 19, 20 years old. I go down there, and the cop grabs my stepfather and starts slapping him around. And I grab the cop, and I pull him back. And he goes, "Oh, you want to go to jail?" I said, "Well, if I'm going to jail, it ain't going to be because I drug you off with somebody you're slapping the shit out of." And then my stepdad went to say, "My 12-year-old daughter hits harder than you do." Just broke his balls the whole time. So it's not like I haven't seen plenty of interaction with police. And now, I'm not saying my mom and my stepdad were right at all, but it was pretty funny all in all. It was still a funny scene, which we still talk about, and we laugh about. But, of course, times were different back then, so, obviously the charges were either dropped or were so minimal it didn't matter. Not like today. But, like I said, man, it's not that I'm against police. It's just that these are some of the things that I see out there, and I believe the police got to become more trained. They got to stay physically fit. A lot of cops are not physically fit. Most men are not physically fit, and they need to stay physically fit and be ready to fight when shit calls for fighting, especially when it comes to your family. And most men today are not prepared to do that. People say, "I got guns," and that. You know what? I hope you got your gun with you all the time, because most men, that's the only way they're going to be able to handle themselves is with a weapon. And I don't disagree. It makes it quicker, it makes it easy. And I understand people say, "Kid street fight." I get it, and it would stop a situation. I'm just saying, cops don't have that. They can't go just shooting people. They have to be able to handle a situation, and a lot of times it's physical. A lot of men can't carry, a lot of men don't carry. So men should be prepared in other ways. And one of them is being physically fit and knowing how to use your hands. Later.